Two Montana legislators walk away after a train crash this morning. FWP begins a study into the Flathead County's mule deer population. And Montana's medical marijuana industry continues to evolve with new changes to its rules.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on KAJ, Montana's news leader.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Don Fisher. Two of Montana's legislatures are uninjured in a train crash that killed one man, the driver of a truck that ran into the train. Senator Steve Daines and Congressman Greg Gianforte, along with other legislators, were on their way to a retreat in West Virginia when the crash happened. Gianforte and Daines were not injured, but CBS's Mo Lengi has details on the rest of the passengers.
The chartered Amtrak train carrying Republican lawmakers to their policy retreat in West Virginia Wednesday collided with a garbage truck on the tracks shortly before noon.
All of a sudden, we heard obviously a loud crash and felt an impact.
Witnesses say it appeared the train had pushed the truck for a few hundred yards. Members of Congress with medical training sprang into action, along with first responders.
Those of us who could, that had a medical background, dived off the train as quickly as we could and ran to these people.
Congressman Roger Marshall of Kansas performed CPR on one of the truck's passengers, but he could not be revived.
We did CPR for minutes and minutes, and eventually the EMS got there. We tried shocking this person a couple times.
Federal investigators plan to work with Amtrak officials and local law enforcement to try to determine what happened here.
Conditions we look for include vision impairment, potentially impairing medical conditions, impairment by alcohol or other drugs, or possibly fatigue.
Hours after the accident, lawmakers boarded buses to the Greenbrier Resort in West Virginia, where the retreat went on as planned.
We thank God today because we know it could have been much worse.
Vice President Pence addressed those in attendance late Wednesday night. President Trump is expected to deliver remarks at the event Thursday. Mola Lengi, CBS News, Crozet, Virginia.
And no one on board the train was seriously hurt, but Amtrak says 2 crew members and 3 passengers were hospitalized with minor injuries. And switching over to our weather, northwestern Montana saw more winter weather today. It doesn't look like it's going away anytime soon. For more on what we can expect, let's turn it over to meteorologist Russ Thomas, who has a look at our first forecast. Russ?
Yeah, well, I tell you, looking at tomorrow, I do think we get a nice little break in the action. Not that we saw a ton today, but certainly a lot of cloud cover. And what I mean by that is that we didn't see much in the way of precipitation. I do think tomorrow we get some breaks. In fact, we're already seeing those breaks in the clouds this evening. Temperatures dropping off pretty quickly in some spots. But once we get past tomorrow, we're going to see big changes in terms of a lot more precipitation heading to western Montana. So hopefully we will enjoy the drier weather tomorrow. 30 right now, Polson, chilly 21 in Kalispell, and again, where that sky is clearing, those temperatures are dropping. 19 Sealy, 23 degrees in Phillipsburg. I'll have more coming up.
All right, thanks, Russ. Governor Steve Bullock recently announced he is giving away $750,000 worth of grant money to develop and enhance tourism and recreation in 27 Montana communities. And one of those communities happens to be right here in the Flathead Valley. The KAJ Nordic Club of Whitefish received a $51,000 grant that they are planning to put towards purchasing a snowcat groomer to improve their Big Mountain Nordic ski trails. The Big Mountain Nordic ski trails opened this past fall and are part of the Whitefish Trail system. The KAJ Nordic Club built a new trailhead and access trail in partnership with Whitefish Legacy Partners on land donated by Whitefish Mountain Resort. The trailhead accesses 23 kilometers of trails that are groomed by the KAJ Nordic Club. President of the club, Danny Giroux, says getting a groomer will help out with a lot of tourism in the wintertime and continue to bolster the Nordic scene in the Flathead Valley.
This is really phenomenal for the valley as being much more of a winter draw. So this is for folks all throughout Flathead, Columbia Falls, Kalispell, Whitefish, even up in the canyon. I think this will really help as having something which is puts us on the map as a Nordic community.
And for more information on the Nordic skiing in the area, you can visit the KAJ Nordic Club that runs out of the Whitefish Lake Golf Club. The Montana Department of Transportation is proposing a shared use path construction along US Highway 2 east of Columbia Falls and wants to hear input from the public. The work would include constructing an asphalt shared use path that will connect the bridge sidewalk to the south side of US 2 and continue to the intersection of US 2 and secondary Highway 206. The proposed path will then cross to the north side of US 2 where the existing 5-foot wide concrete sidewalk will be widened to 10 feet. The purpose of the project is to provide safe travel for non-motorized authorized users and eventually connect Columbia Falls to West Glacier through future path projects that are planned or currently under construction. The public can expect sidewalk closures in the project area during working hours, and more information regarding closures will be made available prior to the beginning of construction. Flathead area Montana Fish and Wildlife and Parks has embarked on a new research project looking into mule deer populations in northwest Montana, specifically the Libby and Fisher River area, and as MTN's Nicole Miller reports, catching them just may be the hardest part.
Mule deer are a very important big game species. Obviously, they're a very popular species for hunters to get out in the fall and to chase.
But this winter, it's biologists and game wardens with Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks doing the chasing, teaming up to wrangle as many as they can.
Over the next few months, we're going to try and capture 30 in a specific location and 30 in another area in the Whitefish Range.
They're rounding them up as part of a research project that Region 1 Education Officer Dylan Tabish says will give them insight into the population.
In recent years, we've seen some minor drops in our check station data after hunting season.
Tabish says populations could be perfectly healthy, but in order to find out, they need to catch them.
Making sure we understand how the population's doing, what trends could be out there impacting our big game species, whether it's predation, habitat changes, nutrition.
He says they're finding out that is easier said than done.
Trapping the mule deer is proven a little difficult. The terrain's a little rugged, and these animals are pretty smart.
Tabish says the goal of the project is to ultimately gain insight into the population in order to manage them better.
Research is a huge part of what we do because that really helps give us ideas about how we should be properly managing our wildlife and fish species.
Nicole Miller, MTN News, Kalispell.
And Tabish says once the research is complete, the agency will release the findings in a full report. State emergency managers now say they will appeal the federal government's decision to deny millions of dollars in additional aid to deal with the historic 27 wildfire season. Leaders initially said they wouldn't ask FEMA to reconsider its ruling that the fire season didn't meet the requirements for a major disaster declaration. But they decided to narrow their request, focusing on the 20 days in September when weather conditions were most severe and when hundreds of new fires started. They're also asking for just under $15 million instead of the $44 million they originally requested. Leaders with Montana Disaster and Emergency Services say the changes bring the state's request closer in line to the weather-related disasters FEMA usually deals with. They expect it will be at least a month before the agency responds, and if they do receive the money, it will be used to replenish Montana's fire fund. Recent investigations at 3 different Montana schools have revealed suspected inappropriate teacher-student relationships throughout the state. On Monday, the Ronan School District said a 6th grade English teacher, who also worked as an assistant boys basketball coach at the high school, was investigated and resigned before that investigation was completed. Also on Monday, school leaders in Great Falls said the teacher resigned after a district found substantial credible evidence of a sexual relationship between him and a 17-year-old. The Cascade County Attorney's Office identified that teacher as Levi Johnson. And on January 15th, Helena police filed a complaint accusing former Capitol High School teacher Renee Carter of repeated sexual contact with a male student who was not legally able to give consent between February and June of 2015. Carter resigned her position a month later. University of Montana President Seth Bodnar says it's time to take all the analysis and study of the past 2 years and boil it down into a single strategic plan by the spring. And he's challenging members of the University Planning Committee to help develop a plan to reshape UM's entire approach to future learning. The goal of that strategic plan is center in the presentation Bodnar is making this week to faculty, staff, and students as he aims to reset the university's focus. On the practical side, that's driven by a drop of nearly 4,000 full-time equivalent students in the past half-dozen years, forcing a $17 million drop in tuition revenue. Bodnar says the school is already making short-term adjustments, but beyond that, he wants to kickstart efforts to boost enrollment, retain students, and help them learn skills needed for a rapidly changing world. That starts with taking all the work done so far by previous committees and having the University Planning Committee distill it down to an action plan by May.
Great organizations are continuous learning organizations that make a plan, they align a budget that supports that plan, they implement it, and they assess it. And I think what's really important for the University of Montana is that we institutionalize a continuous assessment and learning process so that we adapt, that we learn, and we change over time to best meet the needs of our students, the state of Montana, and the nation.
And Bonar is also challenging university faculty and staff to look at ways of simplifying and streamlining what they do every day in response to the cuts that have already been made, including the loss of 84 people to voluntary buyouts this winter. And coming up next, Russ is back with the rest of our forecast for the week, which does include some active conditions. And did you catch the super blue blood moon last night? Up next, some incredible images of the rare lunar trifecta. Stay with us.